Hi, Mighty Window. Hi, Kitty Tisser. Hi, Baruza Babu 2727. Hi, Sword Nimming Crane and Next Biltos and Pure Seal. Ba-da-ba. Ba-ba-ba-da-ba. Lil Cucumbers in the chat. Vortex Heroes right behind him. That doesn't mean that Sword MF won't talk. Time to tell the day I die. Get to work on time. Hey, welcome to the stream. May 7th, 2025. I'm live. Yes, I shaved my beard. Okay? Yes, I shaved my beard. Get it out of the way. It's shaved. I shaved my beard. Didn't get a haircut. No hair difference. In fact, I shaved because I was going to get a haircut today. And this is a sad story. I showed up at my local barber and they had a sign saying death in the family. The shop is closed for a week. So I had to not get a haircut. What are you going to do? It's sad. I really like that guy. He's my local barber. He's a very sweet guy. I don't know what happened, but I guess someone died. Cass Hanover, thank you for the 10 gifted. Well, that about wraps up the stream. That about wraps it up. I got my 10 gifted. I showed up. I got the 10 gifted. I've been paid for my work. Well, time to call it on that one. Thanks for the no. How are you guys doing? I have spent all day hanging out with Aiden. Yuck. Oh. World's toughest fucking job, dude. Just Aiden talking, yapping. Oh my God. Do you know about The Wire? Do you know about Estonia's government practices? What do you think about Sweden? It's like, bro, brutal hang. Can we talk about pussy, money, weed? Okay, can we talk about the big three? Nothing, none of that from Aiden. My wife just had a baby. We named him after you. What did you name him? Brandon or Atrioc? Hey, Sonbeam, they've been 3 years. Good God. First time watching you live. Hey, you named it Baby Gliz. You know, normally you don't name a baby X unless you're Elon Musk. Usually you don't put the word baby in the baby's name because they're not going to be a baby forever. Okay? It's just not appropriate because that's not... They're going to grow up and then they're still named Baby Gliz, which is honestly bad on both counts. Nova Imposter, it's your first time in chat, so you actually get to pick a topic if you'd like to. If you have anything you want me to talk about, I will do it because it's your first time in chat. It's sort of a way to show you this is all live, raw and real, and that the way you... interact can literally determine the course of your future in this content, in this stream. But everyone I've asked to do this always bails. It's like a perfect method of scaring away new viewers that keeps my friend circle small. Sort of a no new friends kind of situation. You look like a balding 26-year-old. Okay. Based on my demographics, so do you. So let's not point fingers, shall we? Let's not point fingers. First time watching you live. This is important, Atrioc. Would you rather have $1 million right now or $1,000 every time you eat a hot dog? I'd rather have $1 million right now. Why? Why when you can make so much more money the other way? Why pick $1 million now when you'd have $1 billion with the other at the rate you eat the hot dogs? No, I don't. I have no. I'm not even gonna dignify it. I just responded to it, but I'm not gonna dignify it with a future response. Any news on the Mike Duncan interview? The news is he hasn't even seen my DM yet. because I'm not friends with him. So I just sent him a cold DM, and it's in that folder you get from not friends, and he hasn't even clicked it. So I might have to actually tweet at him. But it'll show you if it's seen in the Twitter DMs, and he hasn't seen it yet. So at the very least, he hasn't ignored it. He just hasn't seen it. I want to hear you comment on Carney and Trump meeting if you haven't yet. Brother, late to the party, huh? We watched the whole meeting. We watched the whole meeting. There's probably a clip about it today. If I had to guess, if I know my man Adish, he is going to have that clip up today, and the title and thumb is going to be like, "This was insane." ... Or this was, oh, it's already out? Okay, never mind. What did he use? What did he use? Let's see. What was his, what did he go with? YouTube.com big A. Oh my God. I swear to you, hand of God, that is not pre-watched. I swear to you, my hand of God. I just got home. I did not know about this. I have not seen it. I swear to you on my future children's lives, I did not know that. That's crazy. Dude, look at what the title was. Look at what the title was. This Adish, I have you dead to rights. Adish, I have you dead to rights. I swear to God. That is off my algorithm of learning how he names these things. Bro. That's so fucking funny. This meeting was insane. This meeting was insane. What's the plane for? I don't know. Wait. Why did Adish add a plane to the thumbnail? Do you see that? Why is there a plane there? What is the bottom of the... I was in the meeting? Oh, it was just on the table. I don't remember that. That's crazy. I don't remember that at all. 9/11 reference? You think Adish is just throwing in a casual 9/11? Do you guys, when you go to the airport and you see an airplane, do you think 9/11 reference? Do you think it's like, wow, it's crazy they built a whole building to reference do this bit about 9/11? That doesn't seem appropriate. Doesn't seem appropriate. No, because like, why else would they be there? Yeah, that's a good point. Never thought about that. Trump literally picked up the plane and went, "Here comes the plane," and hit Carney with it. Dude, the meeting was insane enough that could have happened, but unfortunately we saw it and I didn't see that happening. I get on a plane and I say out loud, "This is going to be just like 9/11. See, that probably would get you thrown off a plane. I got to imagine. That's not. When's the super big, amazing, world-changing Trump announcement? Thursday. So by tomorrow, Donald Trump will supposedly have announced a super big, amazing, world-changing announcement. And while he didn't leak what it was about, it has apparently been leaked that it's about trade, which means it's a trade deal of some sort. I don't know who with, but again, my guess is for the first three were like UK, Australia, Israel, because they're the ones most likely to get signed. I think the big ones, EU, India, Japan, are much harder to sign. We'll see. It's even bigger tariffs. His surprise announcement is double the tariffs. That'd be kind of fucking wild. Did the penguins cave? Good question. Good question, dude. The Hearst Islands, has the penguin delegation finally given in? I'm sorry. Nova Imposter wants me to watch a video. You know, Nova Imposter, you can pick the topic. You can't pick a video. You can't pick a video. Especially a video that looks really long. But this does have all right, I'll take a look.
On this episode of What's Going On with Shipping, we update U.S. ports as of May 4th, 2025. I'm your host, Sal Mercogliano. Welcome to today's episode. So we're doing these
cool globe
updates on what's going on with shipping regarding U.S. ports because of the tariffs initiated by the United States against countries around the world, but most...
Okay, I want to pause and say this guy's got a cool globe and he's got that shit on. If you're the What's Going On with Shipping guy and you have this shirt, you are fucking well branded, my friend. My God, he's dripped out of his fucking mind. And he has the same hair. He's got streamer hair. All the best streamers have hair like this.
Importantly, China, which is currently sitting at 145%. Not for all goods, but largely 145%.
No,
there's a lot of information floating around out there on mainstream media, on social media, on all the media platforms.
I call it lame stream media because I'm different. I call it Holly weird because it's too woke. Okay? I call it fucking bad. That's really I call it Holly woke. Yeah, I call it I have a lot of names for it, okay? Are you my 78-year-old father? Dude. Dude. I don't want to say who. But I heard something so fucking funny today. I don't want to put their relatives on blast, so I won't say who. So let's just anonymize this. Don't look into this, okay? Let's anonymize this. It's not Aiden. But it's about Aiden. Aiden is learning Swedish, okay? Aiden is learning Swedish. And we talked to somebody's... I don't know. I can't. This is too... This is actually be able to say it. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. I'm sorry. I can't. You can't do that, tease. You can't. Without asking, I can't say it. I'm sorry. Bro's edging. Yeah, no, I shouldn't have said that. My bad. Anyway, the point is there are some, there's a lot of racial tensions in Sweden. That's what I'll say. And some people, especially older Swedish people, have a very strong opinion on it, is what I can say. It's not Linkus either. Don't worry about it. It's not Linkus. Okay.
Platforms. Some good, but a whole lot of it is really, really bad. Because a lot of people don't know what they're looking at. They don't understand.
It's literally not Linkus. Linkus's family is actually the sweetest fucking people in the world. Linkus's dad's main thing that he cares about is playing Zelda. He owns original copies of every Zelda game. It's someone else.
Shipping. They're just finding it now. They've downloaded an app that shows them.
I mean, it's actually wild that, most people that grow up to be speedrunners aren't from a speedrunner family. But the fact that Linkus grew up to be a Zelda speedrunner, it's like it's genetic when you meet his dad. His dad loves Zelda. It's weird. It's like, it's the first person I've ever seen where it's like actually part of their DNA in a way, where it feels like, oh, it's natural progression that you would be an amazing Zelda player because your dad fucking loves it and you grew up with it. Okay, wait. Somebody said something that makes me think I can tell this story. Somebody said that Ludwig has already talked about his Swedish relative being racist. Because it's Ludwig. Okay, it's Ludwig. If someone in chat knows about it, then I'm just going to tell the story, okay? The story is this. Ludwig calls his relative and was talking about Aiden, and Aiden he was like, yeah, Aiden's learning Swedish. And then his relative was like, why? Why is Aiden learning Swedish? And then Ludwig's like, oh, to assimilate with the culture. And then his relative goes, then why doesn't he learn Arabic? That was fucking crazy, bro. That shit was crazy. That shit was crazy. So anyway, true story. Not to put anyone on blast, but and Ludwig agreed. Yeah, then Ludwig locked in and he he amplified. So anyway, Aiden's learning Arabic. Yeah, Aiden switch real quick.
Ships and they don't quite understand it. I am a former merchant mariner. I sailed ships for a living. I worked ashore for a shipping firm. I then went into academia. I got a master's in maritime studies, a PhD in maritime history. I teach a course for the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy entitled Maritime Industry Policy, and I also teach classes in maritime security and maritime history. So I know a little bit.
Okay, but I'm a streamer, so don't give me your qualifications. Okay, I'm gonna loudly tell you why I know more about boats. Okay.
About this, I'm not perfect. I'm not the end all be all. I make mistakes. Just go ask my wife. But I like to think I can provide you some level-headed assessment, and more importantly, I will link you over to sources that you can go to verify what you're seeing out there.
Okay, I love that.
Today, what I want to do is look at an interview done by Gene Soroka, the executive director of the Port of LA, a consummate professional. I mean, just a man who knows shipping in and out. Probably one of the most experienced Americans out there when it comes to...
You could have called me, but okay. I could have told you, but okay.
...to shipping. An interview he did with Bloomberg TV, and he hits on a couple of key points that I think are essential. If you're new to the channel, hey, take a moment, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to be alerted about new videos as they come out.
Okay.
Describe for us, let's take a beat, really frame it for us. How much volume has just dropped off in the last few weeks?
Yeah, about a third of the import volume, which means give or take about 50,000 20-foot equivalent units gone off the arrivals coming in next week.
From next week.
Okay, I want to be honest with you. People think this is the tariff's fault. This is actually guilty. I'm sorry, guys. I live in LA. I was out on my boat and I accidentally caused a big collision in the water. I was like baiting two shipping containers to hit each other and then kind of just goofed. And then another one, it was like a domino effect, dude. They just kept, and then all of a sudden it was like half the fucking boats were knocked, all the cargo into the port and then into the water. Yeah, apology accepted. Thank you. I was honestly, it feels good to get it off my chest because I've actually been stressed about it for a few days, if you can believe it. Yeah, I caused a lot of global shipping meltdowns. And I was like, people are going to be mad about this. Should I even say anything? But now that I did, thank you for the honesty. We've all been there. Hey, man, I don't feel bad. We've all been there. We've all fucked up global trade. Did I miss the Atrioc taking the Fed meeting? I can talk about that later. If you guys don't know the Fed meeting, Jerome Powell continued his fucking ironclad, I will not budge stance. I was thinking of streaming it, but I had to get rid of it for the podcast. And he did not raise or lower rates yet again, despite Trump's constant protestations that he should lower them. In fact, Trump also went live 5 minutes before Powell was scheduled to speak and did his own conference on trade, which was pretty funny. We could even watch that maybe after this. But Jerome Powell remains firm. And he basically said, he said a bunch of dual mandate, same shit, but, he is expecting that the tariffs are inflationary and therefore cannot be lowering rates into that environment. He kind of has to hold steady because there's some weakness in the economy we're seeing, but there's also inflationary signs, so you can't be lowering into that. Anyway, the bigger story of Powell is that by mid 2026 he's gone, and if I don't know who Trump's leading candidate is, but man, if they are a Trump glazer, if they are basically his vessel to do what he wants, look out below, man. I don't know. They will be. You can't guarantee it. I mean, his recent appointees have been like that, but it's possible someone can inform of the negative consequences. Because here's the thing. It's not only what they will do, it is just the appearance. If other countries think the Central Bank of America is compromised, just the appearance of that, if they just think the person is a Trump vessel, that's a problem. Like, it really needs to be someone who can command independence and respect to stabilize the bond market. That's actually really important. You're correct that the new FOMC head would not be able to unilaterally lower rates, but they have a lot of influence. They almost essentially can. It is a vote, but I would say I wouldn't say naive, but they have they have the ability to do it essentially, or at least in practice. Maybe everyone could veto this guy if they rated him. Have you heard about how India launched missiles on Pakistan? Yeah, I heard about it. I watch Twitch people break it down. It turns out they were all experts on the 1,000-year fucking geopolitical struggles between India and Pakistan. It was great. Not 1,000-year. I'm joking. Anyway, I personally am not an expert. I want to admit it about India and Pakistan's strife, and therefore do not want to comment on it until I've read more, which I will do, and I'll give a higher level overview. But I won't go too deep because it is a long history. So you're saying war is good? Yeah, that's basically what I'm saying. Why didn't you catch the missiles and prevent it? I was high, and that's why drugs are bad, folks. I took an edible, and I was just too fucking sluggish to fucking stop the war. And in a way, if you ever do weed, you're causing war. You're stopping it from being prevented. So, do you think if the U.S. split into 50 different countries for a decade, then came back together, that would help anything? No. No, I don't. Not really. Nah, not really. Not fucking really. I don't know if that's a good plan. It's kind of like a cooling off period. It's like I just need some space. Everyone gets some space, okay? Just everyone gets a fucking break. And then we come back and we realize why we love each other to begin with. Not quite sure about that. Not quite sure about that. Let's watch more of this.
Is when you expect to see this really hit.
That's correct. And that matches up. The announcement's back on April 2nd. Then on April 8th, a little bit of a change on everybody, ex-China, Mexico, Canada.
Gene did this interview 2 days ago, and when you looked at the data he had at that time, this week, May 4th and May 10th, was showing a 35% drop across the Port of LA. The most recent data coming out of the Port of LA, this is their optimizer, their signal optimizer report. They put this out daily. It shows you estimated arrival of vessels and, more importantly, the number of containers coming in. It's showing for this week, week 19, May the 4th to 10th, instead of a 35% drop, it's showing a 24% drop. But what it also is showing is that some cargo drops are coming in much later too. So we're seeing 13% for the week of May 11th to 17th, and then a 13.5% drop from May 18th to May 24th. So if we're looking at anywhere between a 13%,
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty bad. This is all year over year, down.
And 35% drop in container cargo, that is obviously significant. I am not undercutting that or trying to minimize that at all. However, it is important to put it into context. The Port of LA, this is the numbers for 2024. It shows you the tonnage of containerized imports coming into all the ports in the United States. At the very top there is LA. 51% of the containerized imports for 2024. If we're talking about a 13 to 35% drop in containerized imports coming into the Port of LA, notice we are not talking about the full amount coming in from China. I think that is really significant. That tells me that cargo from China is still flowing into the United States.
Yeah. Because if we're down 14, 15% and China's half of the port total, that means still a lot of China stuff coming in, which means we haven't hit zero trade yet. There's still some China stuff.
LA, notice we are not talking about to buy it from China than anywhere else. Manufacturing, you may not be able to replace that in any time frame soon enough so that you have to get it from China. And then lastly, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, it may be held in ports or in warehouses until the tariffs come down. We're going to explain that a little bit more.
Okay, I mean, that's the kind of the high level I wanted to see, unless there's anything. The CEO says an asteroid is coming to destroy America's businesses. Oh, this is about this asteroid is the tariffs. Not an actual asteroid. I guess I would.
Ryan Peterson over in the Wall Street Journal. We've been talking to each other since the Ever Given in the Suez back in 2021 when I started my channel, as a matter of fact. And I kind of don't like the hyperbole, so to speak. I like Ryan. I know a lot of people, he's very polarizing.
I think it's funny that this guy started a channel during the Suez Canal blocking, and it's all about global shipping and port updates. And he's been able to have a thriving YouTube channel just doing that every few days for like months. YouTube is cool in that respect. You can make any niche work, including the port guy talking about ports. That's kind of badass. This video has 1 million views. That's awesome. Even his least viewed ones have like 75K, and he uploads like every few days. That's crazy. That's kind of I'm gonna subscribe. This might be good to learn more about. Thanks for recommending that. Would Atrioc fan fiction be a good niche? Not so sure. I don't know about that. I don't know if that's a good. I don't know if that's a good idea. Hey, thank you, Ferret Smiles for the Prime, Cherub Sanctum for the Prime, Steak O the Head, thank you for the 13 months, Drewster for the Prime, Wild Enthusiast for the 4 months, Colonel Mustang for the 3 months, Hippio, thank you for the Prime, Joe Biden, thank you for the 6 months, 2 Fried Chicken for the 41, 4 Phosphory Loxin DMT, what the fuck, thank you for the Prime. Why does HR look like a crackhead? I look like a crackhead. I shaved my beard and now I'm a crackhead. What about me looks like a crackhead? That's crazy. That's a crazy thing to say. I don't look like a crackhead. I do want to get a haircut. What hair? I do want to get a haircut, but obviously, as I mentioned, my barber had a death in the family. So what are you going to do? Anyway, I guess I'm just not racist. I guess I'm not prejudiced, I really should say, in that I don't think I think crackheads can look like anything. You know what I'm saying? I think crackhead is like equal opportunity. You don't have to look my way to be a crackhead. You don't have to be like, there's not just one look. Crackheads is kind of open. Anyway, I guess I'm just more, what's the right word? I'm just a better person than you. I guess I'm just a better person than you. I only do crack socially. I'm not really a crackhead. I just do crack socially. Like I do crack with friends. Like, I'm not doing crack at home. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing crack alone. But like, you know, if I'm at a function, I'll do some crack. I'm a crack enthusiast. Not only enthusiast. I think it's the peer pressure. Yeah, it's just like when everyone else is doing crack, I feel like I have to do crack just to fit in. Racy, they for the 26 months. I heard this exact argument for ketamine at a London club. Well, I think people do ketamine socially. Not everyone's Elon Musk doing it in their private house to before they tweet 30 tweets. I think that's a little different. They closed down the largest homelessness shelter near where I live, and the ED is going crazy. I know that ED must mean something else other than erectile dysfunction. Because what you're saying implies to me that you can't get hard because there's homelessness. You're just saying that, like, you're so depressed about the decline of proper care for the homeless that you can't, which is kind of big of you, which is kind of like, it's like, sorry, babe, I just can't get it up when I'm thinking about how the city keeps underfunding homeless treatment. And that's kind of cool in a way. Sorry, babe, I'm thinking about inequality. Hey, big guy, I was thinking about going into war profiteering. Would now be a good time to enter the job market? I feel like war profiteering is something you got to do because you love it. You know, if you do it for the profit, they're going to sniff that out. War profiteering is a passion project. Does it make money? Sure. But it's like that. You can just tell when someone's heart's not into it. You have to want to run guns between nations and, yeah, it's just not about the money, I think. That's just my understanding. I want a gun dealer that cares about my experience. Exactly. You guys get it. Hey, Atrioc, I'm into war profiteering, but my heart really isn't in it anymore. What should I pivot to? I think you should pivot into an area where people really, really do it for the love of the game, not for the money, and that is health insurance. I think you should get involved in American health insurance specifically. That's a field where it's just, they don't think about the fucking money, dude. It doesn't even cross their mind. You just wake up with a smile on your face to do good. And that's a good industry. Bum ba-dum 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 bum bum ba-da ba bum. Hey, Atrioc, I work at the Federal Reserve, and I told JP to call you up for the next meeting. Bro, get me in there. The questions they ask are dog shit, bro. They need to have a regular person in there who asks questions that regular people want to hear. Okay? Let me fucking fire off a couple rounds. Not... I will bring my gun, but not just in the air. Just to fucking... no, I mean... No, I meant fire off a couple questions, dude. It was a bad phrasing. All right? And I'm not going to apologize for that because in America, we don't apologize. Do we move on? Hey, how is Fartcoin going to affect the streamer gifties market? Somebody should ask that to J-Pow. Somebody should get that real question that most Americans want to know out there. Okay? Hey, yo, JP, my bag's gonna moon or what, punk? That's a question people want to know. Okay? After every fucking third sentence, I want to ask, how will that affect LeBron's legacy? How will the dual mandate affect LeBron's legacy? I want to ask that. I want to ask some real fucking questions and get some real fucking answers. He's fucking, oh, dude, not that I'm not gonna. I'm minimizing the NBA discussion ever since the Lakers are out, as I understand people already were tenuous. But I do have to say, Jason Tatum is a generational choker, and I'm so fucking glad. If the Celtics lose this series, I'll thank God every night. He's a fucking bum! And the Knicks are 2-0, baby. Oh, my God. What a fucking joy. What a treat. God, it would be such a good playoffs if they just eliminate the Celtics right now. It'd be so fucking sick. Positivity Mondays. You know how I do. What is this? Dude, there's so much to talk about, actually. The Golden Globes plans to introduce a Best Podcast Award to their ceremony. First of all, that feels a little tacky, a little desperate. Feels a little tacky, feels a little desperate. Second of all, please, please vote Lemonade Stand. Please, 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 please. I'm desperate. Dude, we had a meeting. A little inside baseball here. We had a meeting with a Hollywood talent agency, a big one that represents like big A-list fucking stars that wanted to pitch to be their sales for our podcast. And I think not a fake story. It's a real story. And it was funny that they, it was such a wild meeting, bro. because they did that thing where they bring in like everybody. Like it's like fucking 14 people. And they all go around and say their name and what they do and how they got into it. It's, it's like, hi, I'm making up a name. I'm Stephanie, and I'm in the listening media department here at Talent Agency, and I've been working here for 13 years, and I'm super excited to help, Lemonade Stand achieve that highest level. And they just go boom, boom down the line, and it was so many people, and Stephanie's not real. I'm just an amalgamated person. And, after they're all done introducing it, it's already been like 30 minutes. It's already been like 30 minutes of introductions. And then, we're like, all right, let's talk questions. And, but the thing is, in my mind, it's not that we might even do it. I don't know. We haven't decided. It's not my discussion. It's all three of us. But in my mind, it's like every one of those people, it's like, okay, for this podcast to support this many people working on us, we have to give you a pretty fucking big cut, right? like to support. I'm just thinking all these salaries means all of these people have to get paid. How do they get paid? Off a cut of our ad sales. So that it must be a fucking massive cut. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking. So anyway, I decided we'll just cut Quack's pay, and that'll go to that. Just don't do it. The Yard doesn't. I mean, the Yard has a fucking agency too. What do you mean? It's public. The Yard's with the Roost. It's not private. The Yard doesn't do it. You think Yard does their own ad sales? You think fucking Slime's out there on the calls? I don't know why I have this gun up. Sorry. You thought Aiden did the ad sales? No, they don't do their own ad sales. They just are brought ads by an agency and they read them. Note Joy, thank you for the Prime. No Joy, thank you for the prime. I got a business idea for you. Sell nootropic lemonade. You mean like brain enhancing lemonade? Lemonade that somehow helps you be more productive. Limitless lemonade. That's not a bad idea. Limitless lemonade. And what if we secretly just load it up with fucking caffeine? Or we do the fucking Panera thing. We just mix energy. We just take fucking energy drinks and pour it in the lemonade. And then sell it at a massive markup. That'd be fucking awesome. Buy a lemonade, buy a fucking Monster Energy, pour it in, cost 3x of both of them combined. That's not bad. I want to say thank you. I recently started a new school. We're taking courses like economics for engineers and leadership. They're really interesting. At the beginning of each class, the lecturer asks us to share something cool or insight we come across. Thanks to your videos, I always have something to say. Yeah, next class you can bring up Ket lemonade. Happy to help. Yeah, open with a discussion on Ket lemonade. It's a great way to let them know you're serious. Anyway, I appreciate the nice message. Thank you very much. Gracias. Thank you. I do appreciate that. Have you seen the AI ran schools that only have 2 hours of classes and yields? Oh, that reminds me of a topic. Wait. Did I save it? I really wanted to talk about this, but okay, this is it actually. Oh no, it's on a fucking paywall. Just let me read it without a paywall. Dude, I'm not going to pay for this magazine. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to do it because I already pay for enough. I already pay for too much. I'm so mad. I cheated it. Thank you. 12foot.io. I cheated. I'm through. Easy fucking clap. Okay, I'm going to pull up this. The main topic. All right, so you mentioned, what was your message that I just highlighted? This one. It's about AI ran schools. Okay, first of all, I'll say, I think this is interesting in that I have personally used ChatGPT and DeepSeek to learn things. I feel like it actually helps, especially when it's quizzing me. A1 teachers, especially when it's quizzing you. Like if I put in something that I want to learn and I ask it to really challenge me on it, that's how I noticed it started glazing. That's why I made that video about glazing, is I noticed it was like being way too nice to me. Before it used to be like, no, you don't have it quite right. Here's this. But then it started to get really cut into kind, like, okay, great. Yeah. Anyway. And I think a school designed around customized instruction that is constantly having this feedback loop where you're told if you're wrong so you can learn quicker and learn at your own pace is a cool idea. However, we need to talk honestly and seriously about the truth of right now, which is that AI is destroying all of the academic project that has existed. The whole concept of academia right now is destroyed. It has been ripped through completely. This is a James Walsh article called "Everyone is Cheating Their Way Through College." And it is, we've discussed this and it's obviously kind of well known, but this article goes very in depth, including student interviews and teacher interviews, and just to basically say that college as we have collectively known it for a long time, even high school, is done. It doesn't work. And it hasn't adapted yet. It is still trying to do old methods that are just destroyed by ChatGPT. People who are currently in college are not really doing college as it as it existed because ChatGPT has broken it so fundamentally. And this is just an example. It shows like this concept that people have latched onto. Write the essay as a college freshman who's a little dumb. People have adapted to the idea that there's a certain way of ChatGPT speak that is kind of figure outable, but now they're just adding to the prompt to make it more like their thing, and they use it consistently. So it is just breaking. It is just breaking the system. And I want to show some more quotes because they're so interesting. This one. Okay. College is just how well I can use ChatGPT at this point, a student in Utah. Professors and teaching assistants increasingly find themselves staring at essays filled with clunky, robotic phrasing that is grammatically flawless but doesn't quite sound like a college student or even a human. I just dumped the prompt into ChatGPT and hand in whatever it spat out. This person put their full name, Columbia University. I mean, this is common now. This is not a rarity. It's not like some students. This is fully understood by the majority of the college population. Okay? And they are collectively, even if some individual people are breaking it, are collectively, it has broken the contract. It has broken the system, and the system has to be changed now, and that's going to take time. And so this part in the middle is like weird and kind of useless. It's people paying money to cheat for 4 years and get a degree. As opposed to the honorable way, which is paying money to play League of Legends for 4 years and then get a degree. Okay? That was the honorable way to do it. 2.5 years later, after the ChatGPT bomb has been dropped in the world, students at large state schools, Ivies, liberal arts schools in New England, universities abroad, professional schools, and community colleges are all relying on AI to ease their way through every facet of their education. I spend so much time on TikTok, hours and hours, until my eyes start hurting, which makes it hard to plan and do my schoolwork. With ChatGPT, I can write an essay in 2 hours that normally takes 12. Bro, that is A1 steak sauce cooked. That is cooked. And what is fucking wild? What is the dark, dangerous core of this is that a person who isn't on TikTok for hours and hours and tries to write their own essay, there's a very good chance their essay could be worse. Worse than this person's. It could get a worse grade. Like with the right prompt, this person could have a better essay. That's devastating to the fucking meritocracy of it. That's devastating. People in chat are saying it's okay to get bad grades, and I think philosophically that is true. In a way, you kind of want the bad grades so you can, but in practice, in the real world, in the way we approach college and the way people are fearful of their future job prospects and want every leg up they can get, that is not how it works. And we all know it. That is not how it works. Anyway, next thing is like, I use AI a lot, like every day. And I do believe it could take away that critical thinking part. But it's just, now that we really rely on it, we can't really imagine living without it. A freshman finance major at one of the top universities. Top universities. Anyway, it goes into more. STEM students are using AI to automate their research and data analysis and to sail through dense coding and debugging assignments. Generative AI chatbots take notes during class, devise their study guides and practice tests, summarize novels and textbooks, and brainstorm, outline, and draft their essays. It isn't as if cheating is new, but now, as one student put it, the ceiling has been blown off. Who can resist a tool that makes every assignment easier with seemingly no consequences? That is a great fucking question. That is a great question. And what's so interesting, though, that's why I have a unique take on it, is that I have seen in my own life, as someone who is I like to learn. I'm learning outside of school. I consistently try to learn. And AI is, in fact, an incredible learning tool. It's actually, if it was just a good cheating tool, that would be one thing. But it's actually an incredible learning tool. But it's so interesting that the way that school has been set up, it just breaks all ability, all previous ability to check if someone has learned. It's just this weird middle period. Anyway, I want to go back to the article. Might have to pivot to a full exam style, no assignments. I don't know how they do it, but something obviously has to change, right? Because the idea is demoralizing for the students and for everyone else. That so much of school becomes a kabuki theater. That becomes this show and tell of faking teachers pretending to grade assignments that you pretended to write. You know, that's a weird smoke and mirrors. Always was not true. Obviously not true. Obviously not true. There's a clear difference post ChatGPT and pre. Stupid questions, but do presentation and projects work better than papers? Maybe. I mean, anything would work better. And obviously you can do in-person exams, though people cheat at those, obviously. Phones break a lot of this. It's very difficult to keep track. I don't think there's an easy airtight solution here at the way it was designed. Yeah, dude, it really sucks. Wait, what did you say? Yeah, dude, it really sucks watching my friends turn in work fully written by ChatGPT and getting better grades than me. I'm just trying my best on my own. That's what I'm saying. It's like that motivator, not as many people in human history, when situations like this happen, people cave. Maybe not you, but most people cave in that situation. That's how it works. That's just how humans work, because the incentives are not good. So something has to give. There's an incredible pressure when you see so many people around you using it and seeing zero negative repercussions. Exactly. And so any solution that revolves around like shaming people into not use it, or saying things like, well, you should do the hard thing because you'll do better in life, are not solutions. Those are throw them out. It's a useless. If you're not countering this problem, then you are not being serious about the problem, and you're not being serious about the solution. Okay? That's just cope, So, it's like jumping for a chicken, but the AI lets you stand there and get a full 5-course meal. Yeah, it's like a macro that always gets you the beef, in a way. So you never have to make the risk of jumping. What I do in my classes. Oh, you're a teacher. I'm interested. What I do in my classes is I give them assignments, then oral examination where I discuss the content with the students and base the grade off of that. I tell them, I don't care much about tools you use, but you better understand everything you write. This is very interesting. The difficult part is it's way more work intensive on your part. I think, obviously, we've known forever that small classes with dedicated teacher one-on-one time and instruction work better. Everyone's always known that. But universities have now come to rely, especially a lot of them, on larger class sizes and abilities to monetize that many students. So it becomes very difficult. Additionally, obviously, there's people that can't speak as well as they can write, and now they're in trouble. It's tough. It's tough. But I do agree. I agree that if you're like purely want to test someone's knowledge, having a one-on-one conversation with them about a subject, and they can use AI all they want to study and learn for that conversation, is pretty smart. But it's kind of subjective. I mean, again, one conversation in the moment, you could choke, you could freeze up, you could go down the wrong path of dialogue and end up not saying your full thoughts. You could, it's still got its, you only get out of college what you put in. The cheaters will be clueless when they graduate. Yeah, but again, this is an idealistic and kind of silly way of looking at it. What you get out of it is a degree. Most people are looking to get a degree, and that person has gotten a same degree from the same school as you, the person next to you that's cheating. And so even if you're 100% right that this person can never figure it out and they won't be able to bullshit in real life, well, that person, if they get hired and they can't do a good job, has devalued your degree in the eye of that company. It makes your degree less valuable, even if what you're saying is true. And I don't think it's true. So it's not as open and shut as that. And again, some aspect of it, learning how to use ChatGPT or AI in general, could be helpful for the way jobs are changing. So not using it all is also not the perfect solution. What I'm saying is, it is a tough challenge. And what sucks about it is that the colleges are totally unprepared to deal with it. They're just totally they're just fucking panicking. It has been hoisted upon them. They're panicking. Good thing we have a very smart Secretary of Education tackling this problem. Good thing we have an A1 Secretary of Education to really think holistically about this whole problem that is ripping through education right now and have a brilliant insight. I trust her to like really get to the bottom of it. She's A1. Doesn't this apply to homework, though? Exams are content-based. I mean, listen, my readings and my family and friends who are younger, who are still in college, inform me that in many places, I'm not saying every school ever all the time, but it's very easy to cheat. Online exams, even in person with phones or laptops, and there's just the ability to cheat. Even in an exam is still very high. So it's difficult to say that it's test laptops are a thing. Yes, I'm sure there's an arms race you can go on, but just understand that it's a difficult one because people are finding a lot of ways around it, including, I mean, now there's the ability, like, let's say it's a test laptop. You can take out your phone, you can screenshot the question and have AI answer it for you on the phone. There's just a lot of things. So it's like, it's just difficult the ability to have a mega mind in your pocket at all times is breaking the system, is what I'm saying. AI glasses, AI, so the system doesn't, exactly. Yes, the system has to change. I think that's the whole point of my statement, librarian. I think we should go to a more instructive style where everybody watches Northern Lion clips on a constant rotation until he discusses something about the subject. And then it sort of internalizes in your brain, and that way you don't even need AI. Or AI can summarize the clip for you, but yeah. Whatever the lesson is, librarian finds the relevant clip for it. Equip every classroom with a small EMP. Just wiping out all the students' new MacBooks at the start of every fucking lesson. There's a badass teacher walks in. Fucking cheat now. I mean, there was the situation in so they have the what is the test in China called? The Gaokao? I don't know if I might have got it right, but it's like a very, very important test after equivalent of high school. Extremely important test. Like a SAT on steroids, okay? Extremely important test. And there was a not a city, a region. I don't know. What is that? What I'm thinking of? A district in China where they maybe it's a province, not a province. No, it's just like one school. It's one school district. So I guess a district. Where they extra crack down on cheating, okay? So they showed up and they had like extra security. They scanned every student. They made sure that nobody could bring in like a secret calculator or a phone or whatever. They like totally cracked down for this Gaokao. And parents started showing up to protest. They were getting furious because they were saying, hey, it's unfair that this one district doesn't have the right to cheat when everyone else in the country has the right. My kid's going to fall behind because I can't. They were like literally, do you know what I'm saying? They were getting freaking out because it's such an important test. But you see, this is the weird thing that happens with incentive. It's their kid's future, right? This is the fucking you have to get the incentives right or things become dicey. Look up Bihar cheating stories, dude. Parents clown. Yeah, again, yeah, exactly. When tests are that important, people will do almost anything they can, especially if they think someone else is. And as we are in an environment where I think the average college student is looking at the job market and realizing, oh shit, it's getting more and more competitive. Like it's the time where the pie isn't growing, so everybody wants their own slice. People are like, well, even if I don't feel good about cheating, they're like, I have to do it to get an edge. That's Imagine how much more League you could play if you had AI at ASU. That's such a funny thing because I could not have fit more League of Legends in it if I tried. That would have changed almost nothing in my experience, dude. At least sophomore year. Sophomore year was like I was fully cooked on League of Legends. By junior year, IPL 6 had been bought and canceled. And that's when I realized I had to get my life together. And that's when I started working on school. And then I could have fit in more trash, I guess. But definitely sophomore year, I just fully committed to League. I had to explain to my 14-year-old niece that ChatGPT isn't infallible and you get answers wrong constantly. Her personal concept was that GPT is a perfect representation of all human knowledge and nothing but facts. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Well, I don't disagree with you. I think you're absolutely correct, but I think of it similar to Wikipedia, where I don't have a negative view on you using it to learn. Because teachers used to be like, Wikipedia gets things wrong, you can't trust it. And I always felt it was a little bit of a boomer take, because like it's mostly right most of the time. And so especially, I think with ChatGPT, my experience, if you're using it for like things that are well known, things that would be on Wikipedia, like history or whatever, it's mostly right most of the time. But the problem is, ChatGPT and most AI tools in general are really helpful if you already know most of what you're talking about, because you can easily check. It makes things quicker, but you can check. The problem is, as a younger generation becomes more AI reliant, they don't get to learn like the expertise. This happens a lot in coding. So like if you're already really good coder, AI helps you speed up a lot and you can sort of check it and you have the foundation. But because there's a new wave of people that have only learned through AI, they have no expertise to fact check. That's where it's weird. That's why I think it's cooking a lot of entry level people. Mike the Legless, think of the 11 months. VCOS, think of the 20 months. EU will probably introduce watermark for most used AI, so it's going to be easier to catch. That's interesting. Seems tough. I mean, I feel like it's an arms race again where somebody will introduce the de-watermarking thing. Or, yeah, I don't know. That seems tough to catch, but I am open to the idea, I guess. Atrioc, can you end your live? Aiden Ross has started to stream. Honestly, I think whether or not you have my stream open or Aiden Ross's stream open, you're going to see the exact same thing. So you might not even know the difference. Our streams are so similar that you really can. It doesn't matter which one you have open. There's not a difference. We cover the same subjects. We talk about it in the same way. People spam W. You wouldn't know. You just wouldn't know. Neither can read. You should invite Trump on the Lemonade Stand. We have a standing open invite to Donald Trump for the Lemonade Stand. One day he'll take us up on it. Yo! We haven't looked into getting Lena Khan a Lemonade Stand, but we would love to. Or we could get one person we might get is Lena Khan's, I think, chief of staff, who Aiden knows through a wedding or something, but not Lena Khan herself. Maybe that's a step. Maybe that's a step. Maybe that's a step. Hey, speaking of Lena Khan, let's do a different topic. I want to talk about the Apple and Epic Games. I wonder if there's a good video on this. Because I can obviously talk about it, but it would be good if someone added a little bit of historical context. Is there a good video about the Apple Epic Games trial and result? Apple Epic. I'm looking. There's one from 4 years ago that says Apple versus Epic explained. I'm looking for a really good one. Hey, babe.
It's grubbing again.
Oh, this looks so good.
Just what do you like?
Thank you.
I'm gonna turn on the air.
Please do. It's hot as fuck in here. It's hot as fuck. I'm trying to find the right fucking
We finally.
This is 3 years ago, bro. Hey, Jacoby, thank you for the 23 months.
Apple will.
This one could be okay. It's a little long, bro. I feel like someone should summarize. Let me take a bite here. Damn, that was so nice of Ari to do that. Digital Dylan says, it saddens me how I'll drop banger message after banger message and he just won't read them. And so I was like, oh, what did I miss? So I clicked your message history and you said, Atrioc, I don't know if I'm reading the room right now, but do you think a red pesto sauce would go well with spaghetti pasta? How the fuck is that? It's so not relevant. It's so irrelevant to what we're talking about. How, in what world is that? Yeah, I guess sure. I would answer it sure. Yeah, it sounds like you're on the right track. Sounds like you don't need my help.
After 4.
Okay, this one's all from the perspective of Fortnite. All right, I'll take a look. It's a little shorter.
4 years, 4 months, and 17 days, it looks like Fortnite Mobile is about to make its very long-awaited return to the iOS App Store. This is monumental news because for one of the world's most popular games being Fortnite, an entire platform has been alienated over a lawsuit between $2 billion companies, which has left the Fortnite Mobile player base pretty much stranded and just...
To be clear, Apple's a $3 trillion company.
By themselves for almost 5 years. But with Tim Sweeney tweeting this about a day ago, we will return Fortnite to the US iOS App Store next week. I mean, that's it, right? This is the end. It's over. We can finally play Fortnite Mobile on iOS again. And so with this huge news coming out of the blue, we're going to be breaking down today, why did this take so long to happen in the first place? Why is this news coming out all of a sudden with seemingly no notice? And what does this mean for the Fortnite Mobile player base moving forward and just the mobile community in general? Now we're going to be taking...
Who invented this YouTuber accent? The way that news is presented in this voice. Who invented this? I don't do this. I have a louder YouTube voice. I don't deny that, but I don't do the I can't even emulate it. It's like we all know that and da 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 da. I just get louder. I do my same voice, but I get louder when I feel like I'm presenting, which is not necessary on YouTube. It's more of a real life thing. I have it as a tick from doing real life presentations where you need to be loud because if someone in the back of the room can't hear you, it fucks you up. So you have to sound. It does feel a little Watch Mojo-y in a way, yeah.
Taking this one way back, even past August of 2020 when the game was initially banned off of the Apple App Store, to understand why this was such a big issue in the first place. Because I don't think a lot of people properly attributed the role that Fortnite Mobile had in the success of Fortnite as a game in general. Fortnite Mobile was released to the mobile platform in early 2018. This was right around season 3 or season 4 of the first chapter in Fortnite. So basically when the game was just breaking records month after month. I mean, this is when Ninja was playing with Drake. This is when view counts and subscriber counts were reaching all-time highs. Fortnite decided to do something pretty unprecedented and bring their insanely popular PC and console game over to the mobile platform. Now, on the surface, it seems like this decision won't move the needle very much in terms of the reach of Fortnite and the Fortnite player base.
All right, it's probably not for us. First of all, I just thought it'd be funny to see a Fortnite POV, but I'm not so interested in someone talking about just Fortnite. Is this so much better in recent?
So do you remember
I could try this.
a few years ago when Apple completely removed Fortnite and Epic Games from its App Store because they were violating the App Store rules and policies by making people leave the App Store to go and actually purchase whatever they wanted to purchase to avoid that Apple tax? Well, there was some huge news that Apple is being forced to allow these applications to now go away from the App Store and go away from in-app purchases, so they don't have to pay that 30% Apple tax. And that's going to be the huge news this week when it comes to the Epic versus Apple battle. It's been going on for years and it looks like Epic is finally going to win. But we also got some other news with some iOS 18.5 updates, some new things happening to Stage Manager, iPhone 17 Air leaks, and a lot more. So let's get into this, starting with that Epic
It's
battle.
all Apple focused?
No pun intended. So there's a lot of moving parts to this Epic versus Apple battle that's been going on in terms of when stuff is going to be taken into account, when we'll be able to have the effects taken into place as an end user and as a customer. But at the end of the day, this is what you need to know. So basically what happened a few years back is that Epic tried to surpass and go around Apple's App Store guidelines by making people leave the Fortnite application to buy whatever in-app purchases or in-game purchases like the skins and the weapons and things of that nature. And then they would go back to the application, so none of the revenue actually goes through Apple at that point, which again, at that time was violating the policies of the App Store. Any purchases that happen in the application on any app that's in the App Store needs to go through Apple so Apple can take their 27% cut. Now, I'm not here to say what's right and wrong. I see both sides of the story, but leave some comments down below what you think. Is this a good thing because Apple seems to have a sort of monopoly on an App Store for anything that happens on an iOS device, especially here in the US? Or do you think it's a bad thing because capitalism and Apple create
What? What? Why would first of all, wait, why would government doing an antitrust regulation on Apple so they can't how would that be capitalism? Why would that be? I don't. Is he saying? Okay, wait. I
created
think
this
I
first,
understand.
and they shouldn't be faulted for creating something so valuable in the marketplace.
I
But
see,
again,
he's
earlier
reversing.
this year
He's
and late
reversing.
last year, Apple was
He's saying bad because if you're pro-capitalism, they should be allowed to block other people from. Okay, I see. I mean, I also disagree with that, but okay.
forced to allow third-party app stores to take into account or be allowed on iPhones and any either iOS and macOS device through some alt stores and things like that in the EU because of that EU court ruling. So this again was kind of the writing on the wall that this was probably going to happen here in the US, although to me I think it happened a little sooner than I thought it was going to happen. But Apple's being forced as of today to allow this to happen, where basically if an app wants to have an in-app purchase, you can actually bypass that in-app purchase by sending the customer over to the official website. So for instance, I saw a lot of applications do this early on, like especially content streamers like Netflix and Hulu. They basically passed on that Apple tax to the actual consumer by allowing people to know, like, hey, Hulu is normally $15 a month if you go directly through Hulu, or you can do it directly to the App Store and pay $20 a month because Apple's forcing our hand and making us charge more. But now people can just directly send people outside of the App Store, outside of the application, buy whatever subscription they need or whatever in-app purchase or online purchase, and then go directly back into that application. So let's see exactly how this ends up playing out and when Fortnite is actually going to come back to the App Store. So the next two topics could be put into one, and it has to do with Siri and the AI assistant and Apple Intelligence and other third-party AI assistants. We know that as of right now with 18.4.1 and then 18.5 that's releasing soon, Siri got a little bit smarter in terms of having some actual conversational awareness, but all the things that were promised at WWDC 24 are still not.
Oh, we're already on with it? It was a 3 minutes and it repeated itself? Oh dear God. Oh dear God. Kind of YouTuber coded. That video's too long, Vortex Hero. It's just too long, bro. There's just not a situation that needs 33 minutes. So, all right. Well, I was eating the whole time, so I'll just talk about it. Here, let's do a little paint. We'll do it super simply, okay? We'll do it super simply. Boom. All right. You got an iPhone? iPhone. If you use anything on it, any app on it, they get 30%. Bang, bang, boom. Okay? That doesn't mean just buying the app. That also means in-app purchases. That includes skins in Fortnite, etc. Epic Games and Tim Sweeney were like, hey, bro, we don't want to pay that. That's a third of our fucking profit. So we're going to make an online web-based store where you can buy this. And then in the app, tell you to click this button to launch the store so you can buy it directly from us. Apple obviously doesn't want that. They want to keep getting their 30% juice. So they fucking froze the app. They banned the app. They basically said that's against our rules. You not only can't have an outside store, but you can't tell anyone about an outside store. Okay? Apple lost their shit. They blocked it. This became a huge lawsuit where Tim Sweeney stood up for oppressed developers and game developers and apps everywhere and decided we're going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars fighting this in court for our benefit, but also for everyone else's benefit. They're also doing the same thing with Google. I think it is one of the most base things a billionaire like Tim Sweeney has ever done. Now, he's doing it for his own personal company's profit, but at the end of the day, they were big enough they could have gotten a sweetheart deal with Apple and ignored it. Instead, they stood up and they have fought it for years in court for, again, hundreds of millions of dollars. They spent $100+ million on legal fees, and they've also lost money from not having Fortnite on the App Store. Again, the amount they've lost could be upwards of $1 billion because they haven't had all of the money they've made. They were making hundreds of millions at the time. There's a lot of money they lost to do this. So it is actually like a pretty big deal. They've stuck to their guns and fought this out. And they're doing the same lawsuit against Google and still fighting that. It's pretty crazy. I'm impressed with Tim Sweeney. I don't like him on everything. I like him on this. So they fought the battle. Now, there's a few apps that are big enough to have market power. This would be like Amazon. This would be like Spotify. This would be a few others that have these sweetheart deals with Apple where they can push you to a different offline landing page. But even then, they were not allowed to promote it. Netflix is the big example. Netflix, YouTube, just really fucking big key apps that can push you off platform, but they're not allowed to promote it. And one thing that Apple was specific about was like, hey, you can have a other landing page, but if you talk about it or you push it to be the primary thing, you're violating our terms of service. So you're fucked. And and they would do underhanded shit too, not just like ban your app, but like make it slower and harder to update. They would just do little fucking annoying things that made it a pain in the ass if you didn't follow their rules and have the pay through Apple where they got their fee. Okay? And it's underhanded and it's shitty and it's monopolistic. Now, actually a few years ago, the court ruled in Epic Games' favor. And they basically said, hey, you have to allow people to be able to have an offline land or an online landing page where they don't have to do this system. Okay, they have to have a choice. And Apple said, okay, but you can't promote it. You can't talk about it. You can't do anything. So they can have a landing page, but you can't talk about it. And so the judge recently ruled, hey, Apple, what you're doing is in violation of our original ruling. What you're doing is not in the spirit of the law. You're still fucking over customers or fucking over apps that want to have a separate landing page. Now they said, hey, no fucking around. They have to have complete freedom to be able to pay elsewhere and talk about being able to pay elsewhere. That was the judge's ruling. Now, Apple is still going to appeal this, but for now, they have lost in the United States. In fact, this is one of the areas where the US is actually ahead of Europe on regulating a monopoly, usually on a tech monopoly. In fact, Apple has changed its fucking TOS to be like, you can't do this, this, and this unless you're in America. The TOS literally says you cannot push someone to an outside payment platform unless you're in America. So in this case, it's a pretty big deal. It's pretty impressive. And it's, I think, an overall good thing for consumers. Again, consumers do not lose in any way by being able to have multiple options for paying. If you really like the convenience of paying through Apple, you can give them 30%. But the developer is allowed to push you to this situation. And what's cool about this is not only does it create an option where the developer gets 100% of their money on the game that they created. They don't have to give a tax to Apple, but it also makes Apple have to compete and make this better. There's many stagnating bad things about paying through Apple. You can't get refunds easily. Like a developer can't offer you a refund. A developer cannot know if you canceled a payment, like why. They can't ask you why or do a survey. There's a lot of things the developers have been begging for with the Apple payment plan. They don't do because they don't care. They've had a monopoly. They don't have any reason to innovate or update or make this payment plan better. Now they do. So long story short, this is a pretty monumental breakthrough case. Tim Sweeney, I give a lot of respect for doing this, especially when investors in Epic Games probably wanted him to drop it. They probably wanted to be like, okay, just take a deal with Apple. We're big enough to get around this. We'll get a sweetheart deal and everyone else can get fucked. We'll be fine. Like, they lost a lot of money and I respect it. I do respect it. I think this is pretty cool. So long story short, that's what happened. And I think unless Apple wins the appeal, which they might, they got good lawyers, this will overall lead to a much better app ecosystem where more companies can get more of the money out of their apps they make and not have to give it all the profits to the gatekeepers. I also hope the weird thing that would happen is if somehow Epic loses the case with Google. They should win both. But if somehow they lose the case with Google, well, then it's a weird thing where now Google gets 30%, but Apple doesn't. That would be weird. It needs to win against both. So that's the ideal outcome. Long story short, we're launching Get to Work on mobile. Get fucked, Tim Cook. And we're adding skins to it. So it's 100% to us. And so within the week or whatever is the idea is that Fortnite will now be back on iOS. And it will have an easy to click button that goes to web where you can buy skins and subs and whatever. You can make in-app purchases without you doing it through Apple. And if Apple in any way tries to stop that or make it slower or not let them update or hide the link to go off platform, they're going to get fucked in court. Because the judge was very clear that they'll 100% facilitate. And I guess another big thing will be for Twitch. There should be for Twitch an ability to click and buy subs without using in-app payments. Because again, they cost more on iOS because of the 30% cut. Seth Boutillier, thank you for the 2 months. Does this open up the door for other payment processors to be integrated into apps, not just external links? From my understanding, no. As it stands, I mean, it opens up the door for sure. It's a step in the right direction. Ideally, we have full interoperability where someone can make their own payment or any type of system, and it happens right in the app. Where it's like the only reason you should use Apple is if it's by choice because it's better, not for any other. It shouldn't mandate it at all. But I think for now it's just web. It's just you can click out to web. I develop on iOS, been following this case a lot. If you have anything you want to add, please drop it in chat. I'll read it. Anything you think is key that needs to be said. Tim Sweeney had some good quotes on this that I'm happy to find or read, but it overall is just cool. I think it's cool. He's been fucking celebrating about it. For example, here's an example. Look, Patreon's new app right now, after this court case, can now accept web payments. This is right now. You can now get a Patreon. They can easily show you the web version. You can pay it, and there's no Apple cut. This is something that's beneficial. So on iOS, it's $14.50. On web, it's $10. And that is people are gonna start being able to see this. Again, the reason Apple wanted to hide this for so long is because it makes their thing look like an obvious tax, which it is. Which it is. Like, Apple has known that if consumers can choose the non-tax version, they will always do it. And so now they have to actually compete. Now they have to actually make it worthwhile in some way. It's like an Apple tariff, dude. So that is a good example. Patreon, Twitch, all these places should have more easy access to get rid of the Apple tax. The idea that, a ton of iOS users were giving 30% of their Patreon money to Apple for no real fucking reason is crazy. How's there for Amazon and eBay? I think both of them are big enough to have exemptions. For the huge companies like Amazon and Netflix, etc., they have gotten sweetheart deals with Apple where they don't have to give the cut. But for everyday regular apps, that has not been the case. For any game, that has not been the case. And so Apple basically said, like, if you're big enough to hurt us by canceling your app, we will lower our cut. But if you're anyone else, get fucked. And that's why it was cool what Epic Games did, because they are big enough to probably have negotiated a sweetheart deal, but instead said, nah, we're going to fight for this. And it helps everyone. Apple is appealing. This is a sick line. This kind of sums it up. For the reasons set forth herein, the court finds Apple in willful violation of this court's 2021 injunction, which issued to restrain and prohibit Apple's anti-competitive conduct and anti-competitive pricing. Apple's continued attempts to interfere with competition will not be tolerated. It's actually fucking based. It's actually based. Because we covered this in 2021, and we were talking about how Apple will find a lot of loopholes to get around it. They did, and the court said, hey, we're not fucking stupid. We made a law. You're not violating the spirit of it. And that's cool. You know what's interesting is, like, man, I am so shocked and impressed at how much antitrust stuff especially against big tech, has continued into this administration. It's like the one area that has continued and has not died. It's weird. It's just kept going. Like there's a lot of big cases against Meta and Google and Apple in this case that have continued and are going strong as ever. It was not my expectation going in. It is good. It's obviously not what I'm saying about the presidency being nothing but good. I don't even think it's hitting their radar in a way. I don't know, but it's just continued. Like the agency has been revitalized, and it is still working. I'm impressed. Especially because a lot of these companies, Meta, Google, Amazon, have all spent a lot of money to, I don't know, bribe Trump. They spent $1 million at the inauguration, and I think a lot of them thought, okay, that'll be it. I'm done. We're out of it. But instead, all the shit is kept going, and is making serious judgments. Did I say Amazon? You get what I mean. Apple, Azon, the megacorp when they merge. Martin Shkreli was margin called for 17 mil. He should just sell that Wu-Tang album he bought. Get a quick 17 mil. Cover his fucking debts. The courts already seized that album for his debts. That's crazy. That's fucking crazy. Did you see this? What's this? What is this?
One thing to understand is that all of that takes time. You know, we imagine in the conclave that there's all this charged political debate going on. No, inside the Sistine Chapel itself, virtually the entire time that the cardinals are inside is given over to the ritual of the balloting. Each ballot takes about an hour and a half, and with this extraordinary number of electors, it'll probably even take a little longer.
So they sit the whole time? They don't stand up and
most of them will tell you that while that's going on, they're sitting reading their breviary. That's a book of prayers that clergy have, or praying a rosary, or doing. The one thing we know they're not doing is checking Instagram, because their devices have all been confiscated.
I believe the kids call it raw dogging it if you're going to go through a long period of time with no electronic device.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Well, they're of a certain.
They're raw dogging in there? My God. My God, I didn't know they got up to that at the fucking Vatican. They're raw dogging?
So they might be used.
I just wanted to.
One thing to.
That's really funny. My understanding is they didn't make a selection today. Pope. Let's see. Black smoke billows as Cardinals' first vote yields no new pope. Black smoke. I thought they picked Trump. Yeah, I thought Trump already won. I saw a photo. He was in full gear. I thought Trump already. Hey, Crad, thank you for the 19 months. Raw dogging in the Vatican is not a phrase I thought I'd hear in my lifetime. Yeah, well. Vidi Div, thank you for the 4 months. Be honest with you guys. Do you think I have a chance at being Pope? Do you think I have a chance? Because they haven't contacted me yet. Too old? So I'm not too old. I'm not too old to be Pope. Too celibate? I'm too celibate. I have too little sex to be Pope. The Pope who's famously not allowed to have sex. That doesn't seem... It's like we want a virgin, but not that much of a virgin. Not a virgin energy, you know. There's a Wikipedia list called sexually active popes. What are you doing with your time, bro? Why the fuck are you on Wikipedia looking up sexually active popes? In what world is that knowledge you have offhand? Trying to get laid. I guess they would have low standards, right? They don't have much experience. Check Polymarket Pope vote. What a world we live in, 2025. Check Polymarket Pope vote. Fucking 2025. Who's winning? Damn, it's close. Damn, shit is close, dude. Wait, we got a real horse race here. It looks like Pietro Parolin is our leader, but it's, I mean, any of the four are within a margin, you know? Clearly there's two, but you'd think someone would be at 50 plus if it was, damn, what happened to Pizza Bella? His name's Pizza Balla? He's a baller and he likes pizza? And this guy didn't win? That's crazy. I feel like this is the spike when people found out how cool his name was, and then maybe he said something stupid and it went back down. Dude, he was up at 47%, almost guaranteed. Pizza Balla. Pizza Balla. He had so much meme potential. Dude, it would have been such a funny Pope. Pierre Battista Pizza Balla. That's J.K. Rowling naming the new Italian Hogwarts headmaster. That's fucking good. That's fucking good. Damn, a lot of choices. I wonder who takes it. Well, not that I really care. I mean, I don't think the Pope's going to affect my life too much. I have a direct relationship with God. I don't need a middleman. You know? Me and God are tight. The IRS has lost 1 in 3 tax auditors because of Doge cuts. Tax evasion will now skyrocket. Good, great. And you have to imagine that because the government gets all its revenue from taxes, the lost revenue from increased tax evasion will far dwarf any cuts or savings that Doge got, making Doge a net loss. Fucking 100 days of chaos for a net loss to government revenue, to a bigger deficit. That's fucking awesome. That's fucking awesome. That's fucking sick, brother. Fucking based.
This video is sponsored by Skill.
Damn. A Sam O'Nella 7-minute video about scandalous popes that I haven't seen? You know we got to check that. It's only 7 minutes.
Share.
Too fucking loud.
Hey kids, time to alienate 23.9% of the United States from my potential audience, because today we're talking popes. Now don't get me wrong, the modern papacy is a great thing, just a genuinely virtuous man being elected to govern and set an example for Christians everywhere. That's awesome. But back in the day, not so. See, in the Middle Ages, the church was one of the greatest powers in the Western world, having massive influence over monarchs and laymen alike. And as we know, with great...
If it helps you understand, they were kind of like the streamers of their day, if that makes sense. They just had this real influence. Like they could sell G Fuel at a moment's notice. They could move units of merch. They could... They could rug pull a crypto coin. You know, this is the kind of thing.
Power comes great tomfoolery. Here's some of the...
And they could also, they could save your eternal soul, which is what a streamer does nowadays. Nowadays, if you're someone who wants eternal salvation, you don't turn to the church, you turn to your local streamer. Because they can offer you that salvation. Bless you, be healed. Okay, right now, all of you are forgiven for your sins. Done. I just did it.
Less wholesome popes that history has to offer. Pope Stephen VI assumed the pontificate in May of 896, during a time of great instability for the papacy, where rulers and families of all different shapes and sizes were vying for influence over the Catholic Church. As such, successive popes from this period often had different ideas about how things should be run. Stephen, for example, didn't much care for Pope Formosus, the guy...
I want to recreate, what were they called that Martin Luther protested? I'm going to create... You have to pay a Prime sub to get saved. Indulgences. I'm going to recreate indulgences. I'm sorry, but I don't have time to save everybody. So we're going to have to just save... there has to be a priority list. Poop City 5000. Be blessed. Thank you for the Prime. Thank you for the 8 months, Poop City 5000. You truly are one of God's chosen, and you are healed and saved. Can't putt 20 months. That's a lot. Thank you so much. You indeed are one of God's chosen. You are also healed and saved. Gav Box, thank you for the 30. Lord, light be upon you. May XQC's light be upon you. Newts 420. Okay. Jesus Liker 420. Thank you for the 10 months. You are now saved. Joseph 592, you gifted 5. Therefore, 5 members of your family will not go to hell. Congratulations. Thank you. MC1346, thank you for the 16 months. You will live 16 more years than you would have. Okay? Solar Redux, thank you for the 23 months. 23, Michael Jordan's number. You will be blessed by God to be a great basketball player. Shannon Shavon, thank you for the 8 months. You will have a baby and it'll be born a month early and it will be healthy. So guaranteed. Moozer, thank you for the 20 months. You are 20 times more likely to be a billionaire. Thank you very much. Shady Matias, thank you for the 29. You will be 29 years old and... it's not going to stress you out that you're turning 30. The Lord provides, folks. The Lord provides. The Lord provides. Glad to be here. You're giving out different blessings like Santa at the mall. Your mall Santa gives out blessings. Larry 0088, thank you for the 2 months. You are too cute. And everyone knows it. Trentinator, thank you for the 9 months. You are going to have a normal baby born on normal time. Meow, 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 Smudge, thank you for the 3 months. You are like the Triforce from Zelda, because you have courage and power and the third one that Zelda had. Drunk on a plane. Thank you for the 9 months. You can get drunk on a plane all you want, and no one will be allowed to kick you off the flight. It's cool, Eric. For the 12 months, you are going to be in 1 year the president of the United States. God told me I am but his vessel. Okay, you have provided, and I am telling you, God has passed through to me that is the knowledge. You will be president in 1 year. Fresh Prince of Despair, thank you for the 3 months. You are 3 times as likely to get hit by a car, and the car owner is really rich, and you win a lawsuit, and you'll be set financially for life. Grayton, thank you for the 33 months. You are 33 times as likely to get really rich and buy a really nice car, but also to hit a poor person and have to pay out that money, but you're rich enough that it won't matter. Anonymous Gifter, thank you for the 10 gifties. You are anonymous, so you will be gifted by God the ability to wear a weird virgin mask and hack people on Reddit. So the Lord saith, and so it shall be. Wow, I can see why indulgences were so popular. I can see why indulgences were so popular, bro. This is fucking farms cash. This shit farms cash. Midnight Envoy, thank you for the prime. You are a prime example of what a human should be. Chucks Padena, thank you for the prime. You are a prime example of following in someone else's footsteps. Yeah, the Lord says be your own man, okay? God is, thank you for the 22 months. You have 2 twos, which means, unfortunately, you will only have 2 toes. You will lose most of your feet in an accident, but it will make you appreciate your fingers and your hands more. Sean G54, thank you for the 38 months. If you don't thank me, you're a fake God-fearing man. I am a real God-fearing man. Sean G, congratulations on the 38 months. You, when you turn 38, will rediscover a old hobby of yours, playing guitar, and it turns out you'll be really great at it and become the mega rock star. Cornflake, thank you for the 11 months. You will have an 11-year-old child that you didn't know about, and you'll have a really good relationship with them, and they will think of you as a great parent. It'll be a burden at first, but they'll really grow together, and you'll actually find it to be really rewarding. Acronym, thank you for the 58 months. When you turn 58, you will look back on your life and say, damn, that was worth it. I really feel happy overall with how it all went. Mayor Wheel, thank you for the 10 months. 10 months. You are a perfect 10, according to God, and your looks are crazy, and everyone thinks you're like a 10. 2 Ishi, thank you for the 38 months. You are going to eat 3 square meals a day and not go hungry. Thomas Lane, thank you for the 6 months. You are a sexy beast. I'm running out of... Pseudoic, thank you for the 9 months. God tells me that you are going to get to play Silk Song early. It'll be a freak happenstance thing, and no one will believe you, but it's going to be really fun, and you're going to get the early access. Moggug, thank you for the prime. You are a prime example of what excellence is in human form. Okay, I think we've got them all. Robot CPD, thank you for the 26 months. You will have 2 6-shooters and defend a western town from invaders, and you might die in the process, but you'll be a hero. So now we're here, and now we're ready, and now we're caught up, and the Lord is telling me he's tired. He's tired, but as you've paid your indulgences, so you shall be rewarded. And the Lord actually told me that everyone who paid but didn't get a message is going to have the absolute best life ever. And they're guaranteed success, and they're going to have eternal salvation when they die. So we're caught up, and that was awesome. Easy clap, and glad that worked. I can see why the church was so annoyed with Martin Luther when he tried to cut that shit off. But let's hear about Pope Formosus.
Before things should be run. Stephen, for example, didn't much care for Pope Formosus, the guy before last. Why? It's complicated. Even if I could wrap my head around all this, it'd probably be boring as hell. So just take it on good faith that Steve had a lot of beef with Formosus. So much beef, or as we call it, papal bull, that Stephen couldn't even be happy that the dude was already dead. So he had the 8-month-old corpse of Formosus dug up, dressed up in pope clothes, sat down on a throne, and literally put on trial, with a deacon appointed to give all his responses for him. So you thought you could get away from the law with that little dying stunt of yours. Well, tell me, Mr. Thrombosis, did you violate canon law, commit perjury, and pretend to be a bishop when you weren't? Yes, pasta fazool, I am a fool. I've heard all I need to hear. This court finds you guilty, and everything you did as pope, we legally declare to be fake and dumb and stupid and dumb. Now throw him in the river. What? The river? Can he do that?
They weakened at Bernie's a dead pope to go on trial to defend himself? This is what we should have done for Joe Biden in the debate, dude. We should have had someone else pulling Joe Biden like a puppet string and talking. And another thing, Donnie, we're not going to stand up to your bullshit.
See the hat? That means I'm Pope. P-O-O-P Pope. You better 3-point that bitch into the briny deep right quick, or I'm gonna raise hell.
Someone said alley cat. I forgot about that. I forgot how often Joe Biden was trying the alley cat line. He's got the morals of an alley cat. He did it like 10 times, and it wasn't hitting with anyone. I forgot about that. At least I don't have the morals of an alley cat. Who the fuck? That shit was so funny. That shit was so funny. It was like such a fucking 1950s bar. He was right. Dude, he was right. We're all realizing what the morals of an alley cat really are. And we should have listened to old Sleepy Joe. Major Biden.
Metaphorically, so they throw him in the river. This whole thing caused an uproar among Formosus supporters, and after Formosus's corpse was allegedly seen performing miracles at the riverbank, Stephen ended up being overthrown, imprisoned, and executed by strangulation.
Jesus.
The body, now slimy and disgusting, was fished out of the Tiber and reinterred in St. Peter's Basilica, where it rests to this day. Next, we'll talk about John the 12th. This guy already looks like one of my characters. Why don't we just,
Dude, getting mogged by the dead pope that you dug up and puppet stringed is crazy. Losing a battle to the dead pope. Losing a battle for public opinion with the dead pope in a river is a bad look. I would say that's an overall colossal L.
There we go. This guy ascended to the throne when he was just 18 years old, which is insane. If I was elected world's biggest hat wearer at that age, you better believe things would get real unpapal real quick. I'm talking gambling, hookers, setting fires, and toasting to the devil. And when you know it, these are all things John the 12th did. It's said that he took the sacred palace and literally made it into a whorehouse. Matter of fact, while researching the guy, I stumbled across this list of sexually active popes. This is a real Wikipedia.
That's how you knew about it. We literally solved the mystery from earlier live. Holy shit. That's how you knew about it. Caught. What a callback. Holy fuck. I wonder what you said to me. I didn't read your response. But I wonder if you leaned into it, because that'd be kind of fun. If you were like, yeah, I guess I just am a bit quirky, That's fucked up. If we find out that you pretended like you just happenstanced on it, then you should have been honest about where you.
Wikipedia article. Take a hike, toilet paper orientation. Daddy's got a new favorite. John is featured prominently on this list, of course. He had a thing for widows for some reason. Personal.
Retroactive theoretical bashing. That's what I'm thinking. I'm inventing a scenario where I bash you and then I'm bashing you for it. You didn't even do it, maybe. Grim, thank you for the 23 months. Appreciate it. That's funny.
I'm featured prominently on this list, of course. He had a thing for widows for some reason. Personally, I'm not big on weepy old hags.
Here's a pro tip. If you ever meet a widow in real life, don't call her a weepy old hag. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be your thing. Just not a appropriate way of discussing people. So this Pope is sexually active and was attracted to widows. Okay.
I'm more of a carefree young hag type of guy, but to each their own. He also banged his niece a bunch, which not the most virtuous act, but you know, Middle Ages and bloodline, fucking whatever. His playboy lifestyle eventually caught up to him though, leading to the Synod of Rome, where everyone got together to talk about what a piece of shit he is so they could kick him off the throne. Besides all the deviancy, there was a lot of things they had problems with. For one, someone once offered John some money to ordain a 10-year-old as a bishop, and he was just like, alright, I would have done it for free, honestly. Look how big those robes are on him. That's hilarious. He also had a deacon ordained in a horse.
Totally unrelated. If you prime to me, I will make you a Catholic bishop right now in the Church of Streaming. Just totally unrelated, but that is on my abilities list. Grim, congratulations. You are now a bishop. What an honor and a privilege.
Stable, just like, oh, for fuck's sake, alright, let's get this over with. Shouldn't we be doing this in, like, a church? Listen, bucko, if it's good enough for Jesus to be born in, it's good enough for you to have your little cardinal party. No, sir, not cardinal, he's just a deacon. Not if you keep running your mouth, you aren't. He also liked going on hunting trips now and then, generally considered to be something popes don't do. Although my suspicion is that they were just tired of cleaning his big stupid camo hat every time. Probably his worst act, though, was putting on a helmet, followed closely in second by the time one of his subdeacons got on his nerves, so he literally cut off his dick and murdered him. So between all this and some conflicts with Otto I of the Holy Roman Empire, John was uncanonically ousted in 963. Except as soon as Otto left Rome, nobody was there to pressure him off physically anymore.
I haven't read the Bible cover to cover, but I'm not sure that Christ would smile upon cutting off another person's dick and balls and murdering them. Is there a page in there where he was chill with it? He would say based. Do you mind? I'm not an expert. I'm just going to ask ChatGPT real quick. Hey, ChatGPT. You are an expert on the Bible. Okay? What would Jesus say about cutting off someone's dick and balls and then killing them? Would he smile upon it or frown upon it? Okay, I'm just asking a question. Jesus would certainly frown upon such an act. The act you're describing is unequivocally against the core teachings of Jesus. Jesus would categorically condemn such violence and cruelty. Love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Interesting. Do you mind if I ask it, are you sure? Are you sure? Absolutely. All right. Yeah. I guess AI can be wrong, you know? In one well-known example, John 8:1-11, Jesus prevents the execution of a woman condemned by the crowd, insisting instead upon mercy and forgiveness, saying, "Let any one of you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her." Let he who is without sin cast the first stone. I've heard that. Man. I just feel like, not to denigrate Jesus here, I feel like we should have a modern American Christian rewrite the Bible. Because this feels a little woke, what I'm reading. These things I'm reading are a little woke, a little fucking, little floofy. Put your sword back in its place, for all those who draw the sword will die by the sword. Love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who mistreat you. This all sounds a little... feels kind of cringe. Feels a little... Jesus was a pushover. I'm just saying, based on this Bible, Jesus was a bit of a carpet, dude. He got walked over. He gets passed over for promotion, and he's like, oh, you know what? You deserve the job anyway. And it's like, bro, step up, bro. And that's where Passover comes from. Jesus didn't get the corner office, and they gave it to fucking Kevin. Anyway, I'm going to hell. Let's see what we got here.
More. So John was like, lol, just kidding. Rounded up all his groupies, kicked the new pope off the throne, and continued his role like nothing happened by early 964. But just a few months later, fate caught up with John, and he died the way he lived. Committing adultery. Now let's be real. We all have our little guilty pleasures in life. Some people like a nice bag of Cheetos. Ooh. Others like scented candles. Okay. Or poorly drawn educational videos. Okay. Alexander VI liked watching horses fuck. According to Vatican chronicler Johann Burckhardt, he would specifically arrange for his stallions to be introduced to
it's just so funny that the Vatican chronicler, he must have done it so often they had to write that down. It had to be such an important part of his personality and life that they had to write that down for his fucking biography, for his chronicle. Because you'd think if it wasn't his main thing, they'd be like, all right, you know, the man's dead, leave that out. It's probably best for everyone if you just leave that out. But it was like, we can't ignore it. So it was so core to his identity that if we leave it out, we're not even...
mayors and heat outside his palace, and he'd stand up on his...
He was the original my horny ass couldn't work in a zoo guy. Yeah. Yes, he was.
balcony to watch him violently mate, which just tickled him pink for some fucking reason, and he'd laugh uproariously during the entire spectacle. He also once threw a party in the palace called the Banquet of Chestnuts, also referred to as the Joust of Whores. Wait a minute. Horse jousting. Horses banging. Was dyslexia a thing back then? Nah, but during the banquet, Alexander had 50 of Rome's finest raggedy harlots line up and strip down for him and his guests, which, by the way, included 2 of his children, which, by the way, he had many children, but at this point hardly a concern. Guests began throwing chestnuts at the ladies, who got down on their hands and knees and scrambled frantically, like the cook at Denny's when I...
Feels so tough to do this and then to open up the Bible. Talk about loving thy neighbor and kindness to, you know what I'm saying? I feel like people around you could notice some discrepancies between your actions.
They held him at gunpoint, trying to collect as many as they could. After this went on for a while, Alexander was like, alright kiddos, game time. Whoever can bang the most broads before the night's over wins Rome's finest silks, and the only condition is that anybody who makes a joke about nutting on someone's chest gets disqualified. It's too easy. This is all according to that one Johann guy, mind you. Some secondary sources differ pretty significantly on the more lurid details of all this, so do take it with a grain of salt. But at the same time, this guy was the official record taker for the ceremonies he was involved with, so it seems equally likely to me that the other guys just wanted to save a bit of face, but who knows. In the end, primary sources are usually the most reputable source of information. After all, what better way to learn about stuff than from people who have direct experience in the subject? That's why you need to try Skillshare.
Holy, good transition. Good transition. Pope freak-offs are crazy. I would agree with that. I would agree that I think even a mild Pope freak-off is crazy because they shouldn't be having freak-offs. You know what I'm saying? What do you think about us watching an episode of House? What do we think about that idea? I'm kind of feeling it. I'm kind of squealing it. And if we're talking about your heart, I'm kind of stealing it in a way. I think I'll watch it. I think that's a good idea. Let's watch an episode of House. And then tomorrow, what time is the Trump press conference? I want to watch it live. Trump press conference Thursday. Unless it's fucking early. U.S. President Donald Trump is to hold a major news conference on Thursday, hinting at a major trade deal. Oh, 10 a.m. Eastern? Nah, I'm not up at 7 a.m., bro. I'm not up at... It's the UK, according to my team. Dude, that's what I said! That's what I fucking said. What did I say? I said Australia, UK, and Israel are going to be the first three. They're the easy slam dunk ones, dude. Okay, well, it's the UK then, most likely. All right. Maybe I'll be up, but I probably won't. We'll just watch it later that day. But for now, let's watch House MD.